recording this, this will be actually pretty relevant for my story.
It is November 4th.
November 4th.
2021.
Today, they announced that finally the Spider-Man DLC is coming to Avengers. The PlayStation...
It's over a year?
The PlayStation exclusive Spider-Man DLC, I think Fanbyte wrote an article and it was like 400-something days since it was announced it's coming out.
Well, was he supposed to be in there for launch or just shortly after launch?
Shortly after launch.
Okay.
And I get the realities of game development and all that, and...
Man, I wonder what took so long.
Sean mentioned when we were talking about it a little bit before pressing record, like, this is not Crystal Dynamics' fault. This is...
No.
I blame Avengers entirely on Square.
Mhm.
Yes.
And their stupid business practices, but it was funny because Avengers, people like to pick fun and make jokes about Avengers and how few people play it, but it recently actually got a little bit of a bump.
Well, it came to Game Pass.
Right?
Yep.
You know what's not coming to Game Pass?
Oh, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Those dumb fucking idiots.
So wait, does Sony...
One step forward, 3 steps back every time.
Does Sony own the video game rights to that character?
There's a lot of paperwork involved, I'm sure.
They don't own
I know they-
shit.
Well, they
Have a contract, I'm sure.
right,
And the
right,
pro- the
yeah.
But I
contract
think,
probably.
but I think
They do
that's-
distribute the Spider-Man movies. but-
and the game.
Well, yeah, they but then they collaborated with Disney, which is why he's in the MCU now. But has he been in anything on any other platform
Yeah.
in the last couple?
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Switch exclusive.
Yeah.
He's on iPhone games all the fucking time.
Now those don't count.
Well, still a different company.
What was that Marvel thing that got canceled after like less than a year? Do you know what I'm talking about? Wasn't it a gotcha type of?
Dude, go on your
Are there
iPhone.
multiple of these?
Go on your iPhone right now and look up Marvel.
No.
There are, I shit you not,
Thousands.
I don't think I could count the amount of Marvel gotcha games on the iPhone, on the iOS App Store and Android App Store on my fingies and toes. I think there's more than 20. So,
That's hot right now.
yeah.
10, like, over a decade worth of movies.
I don't know that the latest film is the first to not be certified fresh. on
Listen,
Rotten
everybody
Tomatoes.
drops the ball once in a while, you know?
It just took them 20.
That's what happens
three,
that's what
four?
happens when you hire the chick that did Nomadland.
It's true.
Turns out the person who's really good at making boring movies made a boring movie.
How much Amazon propaganda do you think is in Eternals?
I would say it's probably the same amount that's in Nomadland. I was watching a video. Okay, this is a tangent, and then we can get in the episode. I was watching a video on Elon Musk and
Like you do.
and how he like is essentially like trying to be real life Iron Man. And then that video,
in his dreams.
but he's like bad at it. And then
Yeah.
that video reminded me that Elon Musk is in Iron Man 2. I completely
Yes!
forgot.
Oh my god.
crazy.
He's at like a party or something.
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey, Tony Stark, I came up with an idea for like a plane that's electric." And Tony's like, "Ha ha!" And then like, it's so stupid. Oh, I hate our world.
I don't. Real Tony Stark can't have hair plugs or like hair replacement treatment or whatever. He's got to be like, that's got to be the real deal. No surgery involved. I mean, wait, he's powered by like a core. He's kind of part robot. Elon's on that track.
What do you think powers him?
Elon?
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't even think of anything funny. Everything that's racing through my head is like Dune hellscape, and like he wants to be the Baron
anime
or something.
titties and memes and
His
manipulating
ego?
the markets.
Yeah, his ego. I feel like above
Yes.
all else, his ego, how big it can get. You know what I mean?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Microtransactions number 5, the series where we all go around and bring a little something to the table. Smaller stories in the world of video games that may not exactly warrant their own full episode, but are still always interesting and deserve to be discussed nonetheless. This is Hot Button. I'm Randall Beatrice, here with Austin Blakesley
Hello.
and Sean Chambers.
Hey,
We got a wide range of topics today. The only thing left is to figure out who wants to go first.
Oh yeah.
I often prefer being the middle spoon in these, so I say it's up to you.
I was
guys.
always last, but since this is your first time ever reading, I'll go first. How about that?
cool.
Okay.
All right. Japanese car manufacturer Toyota
I've heard of them.
recently overtook Volkswagen again to become the best-selling car maker in the entire world
Wow.
by making a ton of very popular cars, including the best-selling car in history, the Toyota Corolla.
I'm trying to think of what the Corolla looks like.
It looks like every other car.
Oh. And so an electric shaver.
It looks like a Honda Accord. It's a basic
Boring.
family sedan. In addition to comfortable but boring sedans,
Hey.
like the Toyota Corolla and the Toyota Camry, Toyota is also well known for SUVs, including the Highlander and the RAV4. The Highlander being one of the top 5 best-selling SUVs, and the RAV4 being the best-selling SUV. They also make the Toyota Tacoma, which is one of the best-selling trucks. They made the infamous Baja truck that was in that N64 game.
I hope it comes fully equipped with Baja Blast. Otherwise, I ain't buying.
The Land Cruiser, another SUV, and the Hilux, which is one of the best-selling trucks internationally despite being banned in the U.S.
Wait, is that the one that Osama bin Laden's driver?
I think so.
Yeah, or was that the Suzuki?
Oh, no, that's Suzuki. That's like a Jeep.
Yeah, yeah.
No, this is like a pickup.
How do you get a car banned in the
Yeah,
US?
what did it do?
Emissions.
Oh.
Yeah. Not only that, but they also made the only car to get its own Xbox 360 game, the Toyota Yaris.
Yeah, the Yaris game is backwards compatible, by the way.
Yep.
It's delisted, but
Yep.
if you have it, you can run that on a Series X.
And of course, who could forget the best-selling hybrid, the Toyota Prius.
Yeah.
In addition to their economy cars, Toyota is also well known for making race cars. They are one of 3 manufacturers and the only non-American manufacturer allowed to make NASCAR cars, along with Chevy and Ford, of course, as well as a bunch of GT racing cars. In addition to this, they also made a bunch of very famous tuner cars, including the Toyota Supra, which our fans may know as the 10-second car that Brian beat Dom with at the end of Fast and Furious 1.
Infamous.
Yep.
Supra
Which
D's
the
nuts.
Supra came from the Celica, which is an older version of the Supra. In addition, they are also credited with inventing the sport of drifting by providing us with that boxy white beauty that will instantly pop into your head when I say the name Initial D.
Yeah.
The Toyota AE86 Sprinter, which was also the car of choice of Keiichi, I can't pronounce this, Tsuchiya, I think,
Close enough.
also known as the Drift King. Now I know what you're all thinking. There's a video game podcast. Is this dude just going to sit here and list off Toyotas all day? Well, no. I could go on for hours and hours about how important Toyota is to the world of cars. And honestly, I don't even know that much about cars, but they're just that important. If you do want to hear more about the actual cars, I highly recommend checking out the YouTube channel that inspired me to pick this for my microtransactions, Donut Media. They have a series called Up to Speed, and it's like 20-minute videos on individual car models, so you can watch. This was really just my long roundabout way of saying Toyota is the big time. And I mean, Fast and Furious is credited for forever changing car culture, from the muscle cars of the 70s to the Japanese cars and tuner cars of the 90s and early 2000s. And all of that can be credited to a single climactic scene in the first movie, with a 1994 Toyota Supra Mark IV beat a 1970s Dodge Charger.
I feel like we could all just go around and just constantly crack jokes. But that is a good point. Something I never thought about is like getting those cars on the big screen and like just kind of seeing.
I mean, there's a history of that with I mean, this is the most random comment ever, but when Twister released,
Jeez.
Yes.
and the pickup that was featured in the movie, like sales for that exploded.
Also,
because it was almost portrayed as being like indestructible.
we talked about this before. Top Gun shifted the entire motorcycle market.
Really?
Yeah.
Because Tom Cruise drove a Kawasaki Ninja.
See, I'm just not
And
so influenced.
that was
by it.
that was when the Harley lost its market share to the so-called crotch rockets of the world.
The Italian Job was the return of the minis. That was essentially.
So
I mean, it was also a remake of a movie with older minis, but
yeah,
it was like it was essentially a 2-hour long commercial. It was a fun movie.
Yeah.
Like, I liked it.
But you guys are kind of leading into my point, which is that it stands to reason that if you are making a series of racing car games, whether it be NASCAR, street racing, drifting, drag racing, economy racing, supercar racing, hypercar racing, anything short of Mario Kart,
Toyota's
you're going to need to deal with one thorn in your side. The licensing of intellectual property.
Yeah.
And
Ain't that the way?
And with that, let's flash back to the long, long, long ago year of 2017.
Wait, that wasn't that long ago.
You see, we have a whole slew of racing games releasing, like we do every year, but this year, a little bit different, because this doesn't happen very often, but we have a
hit me.
Gran Turismo game and a Forza game getting set to duke it out by releasing within the same week.
Wow. I mean, you're right, and that doesn't happen often because
Gran Turismo's not yearly.
No.
Yeah.
And
Not
I was
even
going to say
close.
they can't fucking get those things out.
No.
Forza it's pretty dependable.
You're not going
At
to
least once a year.
include what probably released this year, but I'm not sure.
The Crew.
So this joke might not actually go anywhere. The NASCAR game that probably came out this year.
Yeah.
They do a NASCAR
It feels
game every.
Yeah, I feel like I always see
NASCAR
something about
games
one.
will come up.
Hey.
Okay.
So, okay.
What about dirt?
In addition to Forza Motorsport 7 and Gran Turismo Sport, which are
You
the
mean
two games
now
we're talking about.
delisted Forza Motorsports?
Exactly.
Yeah, pulled from store or removed from store due to licensing.
We also have the likes of Project Cars 2 and Need for Speed Payback also coming out around the same time.
Was Payback the one with the FMV?
No, that's Need for Speed the reboot.
Oh,
That was 2015.
which one was Payback? I feel like me and you tried that. Like,
Payback was the one that they marketed as like a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, it was
Where
like
you were like jumping on the back of trucks and shit.
pretty sure that one was also bad.
They're all bad.
I know, but they look fun.
They do.
Like in the previews, like we fought for it every time. There hasn't been a good Need for Speed since the Hot Pursuit reboot that Criterion made.
You know what our problem is? We just want too much from developers.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a continuation on a franchise that was pretty good.
I will say, because of Game Pass, I went back and downloaded Need for Speed Heat, which was the last one.
Oh, the neon one.
It's better.
Okay.
It's better than Payback and the reboot.
I think those were the two that made me be like, I'm done.
But October of 2017, within the first 2 weeks, I don't have exact dates written down, but it's like October 9th and October 12th or something like that. We have Forza Motorsport 7 and Gran Turismo Sport coming out. Now, just like music games, where they slowly reveal your track list and what you got to license, we have the same thing with car manufacturers, right?
Okay.
Leading up to the release of both of these games, we have the Forza team and the Gran Turismo team, Turn 10 and Polyphony Digital, respectfully, doling out cars. And of course, it's like this thing of like...
It's like your fighter roster.
Who can get the most cars, right? And to use the fighter analogy, Forza Motorsport is the Smash Brothers of cars. We have the fucking regalia from Final Fantasy 15 and Forza Horizon 3, I think.
Isn't the Warthog in there?
The Warthog's in Horizon 4.
Okay.
Yeah. As well as an entire pack of James Bond cars with missiles on them.
Yeah. They're doing it right.
Yeah. But we have Forza Motorsport 7 with a whopping, and this is a bit of a skewed number, but 700 cars.
Jeez.
And this is like...
How can you drive all those cars?
We're counting like a Honda Civic and a Honda Civic Type R as separate cars. In addition, we're counting like a 1998 Honda Civic and a 2006 Honda Civic as separate cars.
You were telling me because they have all the economy stuff in there.
It's really not 700 models.
Those are the Echo fighters, if you will.
Yes. Thank you.
I feel like a car guy would like strangle you where you sit and be like, they are different.
Oh, they
cars.
are different, but. Again, yeah, they're like Echo fighters. They're tuned just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, 700 cars to Gran Turismo Sports, 162. So Forza winning that race by a country mile.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, despite this over 500 car gap in roster lineups, in August of 2017, week 3 of their reveals leading up to their October release date, Forza Motorsport 7 put out a blog post, and this was JDM week, or Japanese Domestic Manufacturing Week. Basically, here's all
marked on my calendar.
Here's all our Japanese like consumer cars that you can drive, and they're all there, right? Wrong. We have Mazda, we got Hyundai, we got Subaru, we got Honda,
DeLorean,
we got Acura, but we're missing one very important company, Toyota.
I wanted to say it with you.
Yeah.
Can we do it again?
Yeah. All right, take it again. Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
DeLorean. Okay.
fucked it up.
Fiat.
And the blog post, the team at Turn 10 knew what they were getting into here. This wasn't like a oopsie daisy, we forgot to put Toyotas in our car game. The blog post was accompanied by the following quote.
We've been outbid.
Because we focused on Japanese cars this week, many of you have noticed that Toyota is not included on this list. As you know, Forza Motorsport 7 will feature more than 700 cars at launch, and our team is constantly working to license the vehicles that fans want to play. Unfortunately, it isn't always possible to align the interests of our fans and the interests of our manufacturing partners. As a result, production Toyota vehicles are not represented in Forza 7.
Oh.
We are as disappointed as you are about this news, and while we hope to bring Toyota production vehicles back to Forza in the future, it is worth noting that a small number of Toyota race cars will be included in the game. Look forward to that list in a future edition of our Forza Garage, which is the name of the blog.
Wait, why were there race cars?
We'll get there.
Per minute, all right.
Plus, you guys don't know, you don't want to race in Toyota cars anyways. That's our excuse, I think.
I mean, they got Ferraris and Lamborghinis like McLarens.
Yeah,
And
who wants a
shit,
stinking Toyota?
Good on them. They didn't make an excuse. They were like, look, we're fucking bummed. Too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is good.
Which, is good to admit that, but also clearly it's Toyota's fault, not
Yes.
Turn 10's fault. Turn 10 wasn't like, you know what? Fuck Toyotas. And now to many gamers, I mean, a lot of car people got into cars because of shit like Fast and the Furious. So to many gamers, like not including the Toyota Supra is like releasing.
Pretty hard jab.
It's like releasing Smash Brothers without Link in it. You know what I mean? It's like it's still Smash. It's still fun, but like.
So is Toon Link like the race car? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep up with the metaphor.
say,
Yeah, and Young Link is the Toyota Hilux. Forza prides itself on how many cars are in its games, and there are a lot of fucking cars in Forza Motorsport 7. And most of those cars were moved directly over from Forza Horizon 3, with the exception of a handful, all being Toyota. And as we would come to learn in
That does suck. There's a whole bunch of stuff they had to...
As we would
Probably
come
the
to
work was
learn in
already
the
done on.
future, this also would not include Lexus or Scion, because they are both
They're owned.
owned by Toyota. Gran Turismo, on the other hand, featured a whole bunch of Toyotas.
Yo, check it.
Yeah. As for our other racing games, Project Cars came out earlier that year and had managed to secure the rights to the new Toyota GT86.
Chock full of Toyotas.
While Need for Speed...
That game was in development for a while. Wasn't it Kickstarter? No, the first one was Kickstarter.
The first one was Kickstarted, too,
Okay.
wasn't. And while Need for Speed Payback would come out a month later, it would also not feature anything from the beloved Japanese manufacturer.
That's in the pattern.
Yeah. Fans of Forza were left baffled and looking for answers. Now it should be noted that this is not the first time a manufacturer skips out on these racing franchises. Very famously, EA owns the exclusive rights to Porsche until the year of our Lord 2016,
That's how long?
which is 1 year before this happened. So they do have rights to Porsche.
Yeah,
However,
there was a Need for Speed game with Porsche in the name. I believe.
Porsches have been in Gran Turismo,
Yeah.
and they have been in Forza through a loophole, which is that
At
in
least
Europe,
enough.
in Europe, there are a lot of companies who will buy the chassis from a car. RUF, RUF, is a car company that would just buy
What?
the chassis to a Porsche 911,
Yeah.
put their own engine in it, and sell it. So Forza and Gran Turismo were allowed to put RUF 911s, not Porsche 911s.
Wait, is it the 911 or is there 911?
Oh, it's, I don't know, 911, I guess.
Well, you're just trying to be
Yeah, never forget.
respectful there.
That's the famous example is Porsche not being in these games.
Yeah.
In addition, Forza Horizon 3, which had come out in 2016, did not feature any vehicles from Volkswagen. And the reason it did not feature any vehicles from Volkswagen was because Volkswagen had their hands full at the time. They were in the middle
Oh, yeah.
of a little scandal where they lied to emissions.
Yes.
Lied on emissions tests. So, but that was different because that was just Volkswagen. Volkswagen owns Porsche, and in addition, they also own Bugatti
And
and
Bugatti?
yeah,
Wait, Volkswagen owns Porsche?
and Bugatti. Yeah.
Damn.
Well, technically now Porsche owns Bugatti and Volkswagen owns Porsche.
Gotcha.
I woke up in a new Volkswagen.
Nope, wrong
That
song.
doesn't have a ring to it.
Doesn't have the same ring.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, this isn't the first time that this licensing shit has fallen through, but it is a little bit different than last time. Now, what makes this even weirder is that, as the blog post above mentioned, this is only for Toyota's production cars. The Toyota
There you go, not
Hilux, would be featured in Forza Motorsport 7. The Hilux is technically designed by an Icelandic company named Arctic Trucks and is just produced and sold by Toyota, but they own the licensing rights, not Toyota.
Sounds like a Travel Channel show.
In addition, Toyota has multiple divisions, and their racing division is a separate division from their consumer manufacturing division.
Right.
The licensing gets tricky, right? Because technically the Toyota Camry, or some version of the Toyota Camry, is a NASCAR car. It's one of the 3 NASCAR cars. So
just like the blueprint is
you can't keep NASCAR cars out of a game that's licensed to NASCAR because you got to like
that'd be a problem.
Right.
Yeah, certain NASCAR drivers drive a Toyota. They don't drive a fucking Chevy or a Ford. So,
Guess we'll just have to make burnouts instead.
So the Toyota Camry was in Forza Motorsport 7, but the NASCAR version of it. And the Hilux was in Forza Motorsport 7. So that's your racing car is the NASCAR one. And then the Hilux, the pickup truck, is because it's technically licensed by a different company. It's all very confusing as licensing tends to get.
I'm following you right up to every period.
Now, far be it from the internet to let this one slide without speculating wildly.
What?
We have a couple theories surfacing as to why Toyota is absent from these games. First is that Toyota has made a shift into making mostly economy cars. Obviously, they make the most popular, boring 4-door sedan in the world, the Toyota Corolla, as well as the smaller version of it, the Toyota Camry. And then the rest of it is all pickup trucks and crossovers and SUVs, just like every fucking car company now.
Yeah.
This is a problem because they do now. But at the time, they didn't make a Supra. They also didn't make drifting cars or anything like that. They stopped doing that in the early 2000s. So a lot of people speculated that Toyota doesn't want people going back and fantasizing about their old cars. They want them buying their new cars. And Toyota doesn't have Toyota doesn't have anything fun or exciting to drive in Forza anymore. It's just all SUVs and shit. Second, Toyota does not like their cars to be modified. Gran Turismo allows you to tune cars, but not really modify them, whereas Forza and Need for Speed are all about car modification.
Right.
It's not real.
Yeah,
I know.
Piss off.
Well, these are, again, remember, this is speculation.
Goes against everything that they believe in. This is a respectable car company.
You know what cars are getting pimped out like all crazy in the Fast and Furious movies.
Right.
Like, that's like the whole thing.
And our third and most reasonable is that, I don't know, they couldn't come to an agreement. Toyota just either wanted too much money or just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. Like, the money's not right.
Yeah.
They walk away.
Now, this is where our story is going to fast forward a little bit because there's not a lot of news on this front for a while. Those games come and go. Gran Turismo has Toyotas.
Everybody's happy.
Forza doesn't.
Everybody's sad.
Yeah. The Toyota does come out with a new Supra. It gets added to Gran Turismo. It does not get added to Forza or Need for Speed, but who gives a shit about Need for Speed Payback? And then E3 2018 comes and Forza Horizon 4 is announced. No Toyota.
Ooh.
Forza Horizon 4 then comes out in November of 2018. No Toyota. In 2019, Need for Speed Heat is announced. No Toyota.
Ooh.
A reboot of Grid is announced. No Toyota.
Oh. Where are these darn Toyota guys at?
Yeah, right? But here is
the
where
phone's been ringing off the hook for years.
Here is where our story gets interesting.
Just an email like inbox that no one has been answering.
A random angry fan of the Need for Speed franchises of all things, not Forza, not Grid, Need for Speed,
Sent them a dead fish.
tweets at Toyota UK on Twitter and says, "Where is Toyota in the new Need for Speed game? That's a real missed opportunity." Toyota UK then responds, "Not there. You can find our cars in GT Sport, which doesn't promote illegal street racing." And then they put that little, gritty teeth emoji. It's hard to explain, but you know what I'm talking about? The one with the wide eyes and like the full smile.
Mm-hmm.
What fucking wet blankets?
Mm-hmm.
They also ended the tweet with bruv.
No, but hold on. The only response to that tweet before it was promptly deleted was the Need for Speed account.
Just said
tweeting,
pussy.
Nerds.
That's so awesome.
All right, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll get the new Need for Speed now.
Seems like more of a joke than anything. They put that weird emoji in there. But like I said,
don't know.
the tweet.
What's the the joke is that you're lame. Like, that's not a very good bit.
I don't know. The joke is that like Gran Turismo is a more honorable franchise than Need for Speed, which is true, but not because
Sure,
it's about illegal street racing.
Yeah,
It's
they could have
because
said.
it's because it has a budget and people give a shit about it. But
So this all
It's also like
spawns out,
more simmy, but
this all spawns out of elitist nerds. Is that what you're telling me?
oh yeah, of course, like all car shit.
those dorks.
Again, seems like a joke, but the tweet was promptly deleted. And then Toyota
Take
released
it down.
the following statement.
we look like
Officially,
lame wads.
the Toyota Motor Corporation has no concrete plans to license its model range to any other games besides Gran Turismo Sport at the moment.
So is there an exclusivity deal or partnership?
I don't know, is there?
Oh.
We'll be really excited to share our future plans with you as soon as we are able to. Okay?
Something's cooking.
Like you said, no exclusivity deal confirmed. Sony is obviously not fucking saying shit,
Yeah, why would
but this leads many to come to the very reasonable conclusion that this isn't a Toyota's being a dick thing. This is a Sony is paying Toyota to be a dick thing.
And shut up about it.
Yeah, and shut up about it.
They're also Japanese company, both of them. I mean,
Correct.
as opposed to Microsoft.
We come towards the end of 2019. October 2019, the Grid reboot launches. New Toyotas. November 8th, Need for Speed Heat comes out. No, not a Toyota in sight. So it seems like
Starting to connect the dots.
if there is an exclusive deal, it's clearly still in effect, right?
Yeah.
Wrong. 11 days later,
Set me up.
the Forza Motorsport account tweeted,
We got Toyota.
suspiciously 2 years and 2 weeks after the launch of Gran Turismo Sport and Forza Motorsport 7.
Guess what ran out, motherfuckers?
The
plus
Forza
2.
Motorsport account
It
tweeted
lapsed.
that the 1998 Toyota Supra RZ Mark IV would be coming to Forza Horizon 4 free of charge in their title update on December 12th of 2019.
Yeah, free of
And
charge,
it only
too.
cost us $10 million.
Yeah. The news was then followed by a bunch more Toyotas, including the Corolla, the Celica, the AE86 Sprinter, the GT, the MR2, as well as the Lexus LFA, the Lexus ISF, and the Lexus RCF.
You're getting flooded with Toyotas.
We got
now,
Yeah.
boy.
Toyota branded bicycles, Toyota stickers.
Look at there's
Helmets.
billboards in the game. They got Toyotas
Yeah,
on
that's
them.
written in the clouds in the sky.
So what actually happened? Poor Need for Speed. By the way, if you didn't
Don't
get
say
it, because
that.
I kind of blew past it, this announcement came 11 days after Need for
You
Speed
just
Heat released with
summoned-
no Toyotas in it.
Somebody at EA pulling their hair out.
Yeah. I mean,
You
they
kidding
get a
me?
taste of their own medicine for the Porsche thing, I
That's
guess.
true.
I guess you could say they got left in the dust.
Yeah. They should change it to Need for Toyotas. Right?
Might actually sell better. Change the name.
But yeah, what actually happened? Sad to report, I don't know. The weird thing about this story is that
What good are you?
many outlets report that there is in fact a deal between Sony and Toyota as a fact.
Undoubtedly.
Others reported as speculation. I personally could not find any concrete proof in writing anywhere that there was a deal, but it's pretty
It doesn't have
obvious
to be
there was a deal.
public, yeah.
So I was just about to ask: is something like that doesn't have to be public, right? I mean, if you're signing
I don't
contracts,
think
and things
so.
like that,
No, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
public. No.
Yeah.
Especially for
Um,
foreign.
So most likely,
It only has to be. The weird thing about it is, to get into it a little bit, the only thing that's weird about it is, to go back to our cold open, if you're Sony and you're like, you should buy Avengers on our platform,
mm-hmm.
we have Spider-Man. They made that public because them buying exclusive rights to Spider-Man is a selling point.
Yeah. We don't know when.
It's choose us over.
We don't know when we have Spider-Man. He's around here
Coming
somewhere.
in
I think
2022.
Yeah, I think there's a guy in the office who drew a picture.
Yeah.
Of it. It's gonna be pretty sweet.
It's just like a kid's drawing of Spider-Man.
He's a hard guy to nail down, with the webs and everything.
Yeah.
So you can imagine our frustration.
Try
But-
getting a picture.
The weird thing is, if there was a deal, I don't know why Sony would pay Toyota to exclusively license to Polyphony Digital,
One
only
game.
to then never mention it. Like if I was
Yeah,
Sony
Right,
and
you
I
put that on the box.
Yeah,
you
like
market
a bullet
it.
point,
this
yeah.
is where, hey, you want to race a Toyota Supra? We got you.
Well, that's-
Forza sucks.
Well, that's why Need for
that's why you
Speed
do
was
that.
like had Porsche in that. I gotta look up that game.
Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed.
Oh, Porsche Unleashed. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And it makes itself very well known that this is the
Yeah.
place to come for Porsches.
If you are spending money signing contracts, you
hmm
want to leverage that in
yeah,
marketing.
exactly.
But again, no concrete proof. But I don't see why not. There's really no reason for Toyota to take such a hard stance on in a tweet, and then 2 months later, and 11 days after Need for Speed wasn't allowed to have Toyotas, to just push a deluge of Toyotas into Forza Horizon 4 later as DLC. Other than what is seemingly a 2-year contract that was secretly signed between Sony and Toyota. But I guess we'll never know, because as of recording, like Randy said, it is now November 4th, 2021, November 9th, 2020, actually November 5th, tomorrow, the early access version of Forza Horizon 5 comes out, and next Tuesday, the day before this episode is set to go live, so Forza Horizon 5 comes out to the public. So if you're listening to this and you got Game Pass,
enjoy your Toyotas.
Download that Forza Horizon 5 and just, race Toyotas all day, because they got a whole fucking bunch of Toyotas in Horizon 5.
Yeah, there's like 900 Toyotas in it, I hear.
Yeah.
Nothing but oops all Toyotas.
But yeah, that's my story.
I'm waiting for Forza Oops All Toyotas to actually make it to the light of day.
Oh God, I gotta Photoshop that, don't I?
Oh, no, that was interesting. All right, so I got a question for you guys. Y'all like memes?
Like them.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I love them.
How about Endless Runners?
You remember Dat Boy?
Do I?
The frog on the unicycle?
Yeah.
What a trip.
That was a joyous couple of weeks.
How'd they get that frog on them? What is it, motorcycle?
Unicycle.
All right, so into the memes here. And Endless Runners. How do you feel about those?
Take it or leave it.
Cannonball was pretty good. It's all downhill from there, though.
No, Bit Trip Runner.
Nah, Cannonball's better.
Well, I got good news. Because what if I were to tell you that Nintendo, of all people, fulfilled your wishes back in 2014
Oh my God.
and gifted us with what is likely the best of the worst and most bootleg-ass game to ever sneak past their official seal of quality. And as a Wii U exclusive.
Production note for those listening. We got a new mixer, and it has a built-in soundboard, so look forward to that in the future. I am so upset with myself that I didn't put the sounds from this game on the soundboard. Like an MLG air horn and like the, where are you at?
Yep. So, get those pesky PlayStations and Xboxes out of here. Throw that expensive PC you built in the motherfucking trash can, because this is the tale of Meme Run.
Icon has Wii U.
So I can play my Wii U and smoke a joint and like chug Mountain Dew and get hit 360 headshots at the same time.
Actually, not to jump ahead, but you might not want to do any of the things I just said.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there. Anywho, allow me to paint a picture. It's December that year.
Snow is on the ground.
The
a light dusting. The Christmas lights are all up. I'm there in my head.
This is the 18th to be precise. So,
wow, Christmas is right around the corner.
Right around the corner. And something appears on the Big N's eShop. It's crude, costs $5, and is categorized under the genre Illuminati confirmed.
Perfect.
Which I guess means that whoever uploads a title to the service for download can essentially write whatever they want in the info. Pretty funny.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Seems like that could go bad quick. Surprised that made it past old daddy Nintendo.
Right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and guess. I've been on this show enough. Nothing's going to go wrong. Randy's just bringing this game up because he likes it so much. Nothing's going to happen.
Well, speaking of that listing, both the developer and the publisher were listed as Ninja Pig Studios, a duo indie outfit consisting of an, at the time, 20-year-old designer, Jordan Schwetz, and his younger brother. They launched their website and started work in 2011. Jordan began programming in the 7th grade after discovering an interest in HTML. The passion progressed once he was given his first smartphone in his freshman year of high school, spending endless hours educating himself on its internal components as well as messing around with the various apps. This then led to him going into application development, often receiving advice from other young minds who frequented like Android community forums. He labeled Ninja Pig more or less as a, quote, one-man shop, but always still insisted in crediting outside sources that helped him out. The MS Paint style company logo was a picture he drew in junior high that his dad loved and hung by his computer, while the name came from his gamer tag.
Pretty cool kid so far.
Yeah. He tinkered with the tools he had, using Unity to create and release his commercial debut, a simplistic parody game called IQ Test, inspired from the numerous browser and like phone stuff that came before it, all with the same concept.
Like Impossible Quiz and shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. You get tricked into attempting to solve basic puzzles through unconventional means, get annoyed at the solutions, then inflict it on your friends and family and watch their frustrated reactions.
And then get dumpstered on in your results.
Yeah. You get pranked.
Yeah, do you remember like these from back in the Flash days? They were like fun once, and then everybody rushed to replicate it. Here's what makes this one unique, though. Upon instant attention with its availability on the iPhone, iPad, and Barnes & Noble's Nook, the latter being the most important as it not only was his personal favorite, it was less crowded of a scene than the formers, literally dethroning Angry Birds on there for several weeks while rocking decent scores to match. But yeah, these versions were out on July 31st of 2014, and he had a plan on the side to keep the train of success rolling. This being to also submit it to launch for the Wii U. The mobile scene was already inundated with that kind of shit by this point, but not the console space. Plus, Nintendo was beginning to have quite the reputation to those in the know for having a bizarrely lax certification process with their store. Perhaps even more so after Apple and Google were getting pressured to curate their marketplace better and trim down the garbage that was being dumped on there daily. He could potentially face the removal of future creations on iOS. Mario guys, however, too distracted to catch anything.
Yes, distracted by the success of the Wii U.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money to count, my friend.
Mm-hmm. 1, 2. We'll be here all week.
Now, he couldn't find if Jordan had somehow acquired his own Wii U dev kit, or if the Unity engine was just so universally compatible that porting the builds from his PC was so easy that it wasn't even needed.
Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah, for more on the history of that software, check out our episode on it, by the way. So there's no telling why Nintendo themselves permitted such products through their doors, especially when you consider their protections over the brand, along with their prior relationship with third parties, or lack thereof. Was it due to their unfamiliarity with running an online shop? Was it that their system was absolutely failing to connect this generation, and they frankly would take almost whatever to pad out its small library? Who knows?
Take your pick.
It's that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's that one.
But either way, Jordan's IQ test made it through the cracks, and a few days later, on August 4th, it was ready for purchase on your Wii U. Again, it was $5. A single outlet reviewed it with a 4 out of 10, them not being swayed by its low-budget nature, and it otherwise faded into the console's lonely catalog of shovelware.
I take it back, by the way, because have you been on the Switch eShop? It's full of garbage.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah,
Nintendo don't give a fuck.
they
man.
really don't.
The
At
only
least it's
place worse
full.
is Steam.
I mean, at least it's full though. I go in there and I'm looking
The
for
problem
the hottest new thing, and I see a bunch of shit that I just look
The
right
problem
over.
with the Switch
but it feels
marketplace
alive.
Yeah.
is that there'll be those dollar phone games, but they're sandwiched next to AAA releases
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
their own shit that they publish. You're
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
what?
the problem is you're like, oh, awesome, dude. No More Heroes 3 came out.
Yeah.
Let's go on the eShop and download it. I'm so
it's
excited.
already pages.
And you
down.
go to recent
Yeah.
releases, and 3 pages in is No More Heroes, because since noon when that came
10
out,
Sudoku games.
and 10 p.m. when you're checking the store, there's 8 mobile ports and
Yeah.
5 anime games with
Yeah,
young women
I've also
being mistreated.
I thought I was alone, but yeah, I have noticed whenever I stumble into the Switch shop,
Mm-hmm.
eShop, whatever, stuff that comes out gets buried quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Meanwhile, Jordan was on to begin working on his magnum opus. Not that it was going to take very long. He stole images and audio from across the internet that he found amusing and got programming.
borrowed.
Borrowed. I'm also going to say that his pre-release statement claiming that Meme Run was intended to appeal to hardcore as well as casual audiences by featuring, quote, intuitive controls, and goals was an obvious prank after the final result was revealed. He toyed about with folks on Twitter during its production, occasionally dishing out nuggets of info on the game with it. Words on its perceived quality did travel around, this leading him only to, to further mess with people questioning its validity or purpose, to which he would respond with messages like, quote, "We can only speculate about the existential horrors and guilty delights the game is sure to bring once it launches." While the end of the post reads, quote, "Leave a comment with your thoughts below or get wrecked, you noob XD."
So was the... I'm loving this kid.
Love memes.
Did he...
The fire from overly passionate Nintendo fans only getting fueled even more.
Did he release the name of it at this point?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, people knew kind of what they were in for. Okay.
Yeah. Regardless, the project was completed in just under a couple months, officially being proved by the Big N after 3 rejections on November 18th, with a trailer coming on Thanksgiving.
Hold on. 3 rejections?
Well, probably for bugs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there is some sort of quality control in place.
Some.
That's impressive.
And there's a big red N stamp.
Yeah.
That it gets.
Yeah.
Like, it's like
No, that's the Netflix.
I think
stamp.
more
Oh, shit.
more what they're looking for is like, does it boot? You know?
So it took them 3 tries to get it to boot. That's
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
When the feedback from the public became what you expected, Jordan simply responded with classifying it as Game of the Year 2014.
This guy rules.
Yeah.
So footage was now in the wild. He continued to put it on the finishing touches, using his buddies from college as playtesters. And on December 18th, Meme Run landed on the eShop, with the actual description underneath of it being, quote, "Tyrone rated this game 8 out of 8, which means it's not bait, so come play, mate."
Oh my
With
god.
bait and mate, of course, having the number 8 in them.
Have we talked about how memes don't age well?
I don't know. This is like a fine line.
Yeah.
If you ask me.
I don't know. It's pretty bitter in my mouth.
Yeah, just like wine.
Exactly.
I'm not listening to anything Randy says, by the way. I'm just thinking of memes to reference.
All
You'd
right.
have to be a bad luck Brian to download this game and pay $5 for it, right? Another one for you.
So now let me walk you through the experience of playing this nightmare.
Oh, please don't.
Immediately up.
Oh, I've played it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh. Immediately upon
Wait,
boot up,
did you play it for the memes? Okay, keep going.
Yes.
you are treated with looping screams from the Wombo Combo Smash Melee video,
Okay.
blaring as loud as possible to the point of it crackling.
You have my attention.
This
Continue.
right on top of its lengthy load screen. Then it's just options of press X to start, press A to jump, press B to slide. That's it. No deeper menus, no multiplayer leaderboards. The gameplay then goes. The shortest answer I can give is that it is an endless runner. You're automatically moving right on a 2D plane constructed of procedurally generated blocks of Lenny faces, with your character being a troll face stick figure.
Great.
The backgrounds, designed to take your eyes off the action, were made up of other pulsating memes. What's the frog, the dancing frog one?
That boy.
No, different frog.
Different Crazy Frog?
No.
A lot of frogs.
Yeah, not the Wednesday ones. And the dollar bills would drop, air horns would pop in to shake everything. A JPEG of the 50 cal sniper from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 with hit markers would cover the field.
Wait, you're taking me back.
Music would be interrupted with repeating audio taken from different Valor videos. It's like the "Oh baby, a triple."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the "Where you at?"
Yeah. You could collect little Illuminati pyramids as a multiplier for your points. Swag points, they are called in game. Which continuously rises the longer you stay alive. Austin is just like,
Jeez.
Getting flashbacks.
This is something.
yeah. Eventually you will lose, either from plummeting into a pit or by getting stuck on the environment as the screen slides away. After death, text will then encourage you to post your high score to the Miiverse, and that's basically it.
Did you say it was never ending?
Well, yeah.
it's Ed Schroeder.
Oh, yeah, endless time.
It reviewed like ass. The only two on Metacritic showing were a 1 from Nintendo Life and a 2 from Nintendo Enthusiast, respectfully. Unfortunately, not enough to give it a full number under them, since I believe you do need a minimum of, what'd you say?
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Those Nintendo reviewers
Separate
don't-
outlets to look at it.
Those Nintendo reviewers don't mess around, okay?
Yeah.
You put only the
Blogs.
highest quality, highest caliber products on their platforms, or get the H
If
out.
only we had a way, some sort of technology to average 1 and 2 together. Unfortunately.
The user score, though, was a 3.9
Hell yeah.
from 57 different profiles.
Because
Should have been a 6.9.
Because they get... you definitely get it.
Yeah, I get it.
Many stated its irritating nature, cheap presentation, straight up broken and responsive controls, and loads of glitches as primary complaints. Like, literally, you could just fall through the floor in this thing every now and then. Not what you want to happen in a game like this.
No.
Although I do enjoy Kotaku's Mark Serrell's assessment of it, it's, quote, terrifying. Just watching this video game being played is a genuine insight into what it is to be insane. Honestly, my opinion was that it wasn't crazy enough from what I saw. I think the concept demanded more memes than just what they had in there. So some of those that bought into the idea were mad. One buyer even tried to initiate a change.org petition in an effort to remove it from sale. It had 6 supporters.
Jeez.
Because here's where it gets great. Folks on the opposite end of the spectrum were super into the joke, to the degree that Meme Run's Miiverse page was getting just flushed with drawings and notes from tons of accounts, ironically exclaiming that it was the best game of all time. See, every Wii release, big and small, gets their own dedicated social network hub. It was a company standard, and any title with regular activity on them would bring it to the forefront of the Nintendo Online Marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning curiosity kept getting piqued, and boom, more copies sold. It was hilarious, and I love it. It's like the greatest trick ever pulled.
It's great. I love this dude. And also, like, you're going to buy a game called Meme Run
Yeah.
that has a troll face very prominently displayed for $5 and then be like, this is bullshit. I want my money back. It's like, no, dude.
You bought in.
Yeah. That's the 2-step process here.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan was pretty pleased at the surprising numbers, and that he was going to issue updates to show his gratitude, plus another secret plan. A plan to incite the same chaos on Steam. On January 5th, going into the new year of 2015, Meme Run was put on Steam Greenlight. The votes poured in, but I'll have to get back to that in a bit. On January 19th, quote, Bigly Mode was added to the Wii U edition. A sly reference within the Miiverse community in relation to the news by the Smash Bros. Dev team that Ridley from Metroid was too big to include on its fighter roster. Of course, now, here we are in a post-Smash Ultimate world where he was indeed a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is here. But yeah, all this update did was change your avatar if you wanted by hitting the B button.
Cool.
Interesting.
Okay, so this intentional disaster was doing what it does, causing both pain and joy. Jordan was on cloud 9,
Mm-hmm.
except then the unexpected occurred. A controversy most foul.
Oh, no.
Intellectual property theft.
Hey, I already covered that.
Sorry. Now, interestingly enough, a previous patch did replace the Call of Duty gun asset with a generic one. Ninja Pig possibly foreseeing the inevitable cease and desist from Activision if the game's popularity were to reach larger heights. The real outcome here wouldn't truly get revealed yet, because from our perspective, this thing just vanished from the eShop
Right.
without any announcement. March 3rd, Meme Run was suddenly gone, tragically killing its Miiverse in the process.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Lost to time.
More went out. Rumors did spread as to why, but nearly all fingers pointed to the title's inclusion of snatching various internet stuffs without permission as the culprit. It was doing too well for it to be a view of objective taste. No word was coming from the studio. Well, other than the gameography on their website changing the product link to a Rickroll.
Nice.
Nintendo
This
of America.
dude never stops,
Classic.
does he?
Classic, dude. Facing legal action, and he's still memeing. Gotta love it.
His address is 123 Fake Street.
Nintendo of America was also conspicuously silent. A day later, a Reddit topic would then get made from someone claiming that an individual known as Wayne on DeviantArt has written about how he technically owned the copyright for the troll faces and sent a DMCA takedown on Nintendo after failing to stay in contact with Jordan constructively. For brevity's sake, I'm not going to read the entire post. The key factors, though, were that he wasn't trying to be a dick. He was just following the protocol advised from his business holders, and that potentially, a solution could still be reached to reinstate it back to the store. This likely being crediting and compensation, as he mentioned that fair use wasn't going to fly here.
This is getting sticky, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He did answer a few inquiries on this as the thread went along, explaining that he doesn't typically pursue every use of the images and that this was sort of his only path. Personally, I'm kind of torn on this. I'm not sure whose side I'm on, really. Especially when the realization came that Ninja Pig, just months before this, had to outright cancel their second Wii U release called Jumpy Cat for similar reasons.
Dang.
As pieces of the artwork wasn't theirs, nor was the title name itself even available. Gamgo Games apparently locked that down already. That aside, the suspicions were once again confirmed, this time through a Kotaku interview direct with our inventor of the troll face himself, then 20-year-old Carlos Ramirez. He said that he was happy to see people use his art online, but Meme Run was a whole nother story. It being a retail item for sale on a major gaming platform was harder for him to ignore. That and that it was also actively earning money.
Yeah.
This then finally led to Jordan Schwetz speaking up, his reasoning being that the content he grabbed were being hosted on a royalty-free website, Open Game Art, everything else he made in Photoshop. He also went on to say that he was uncertain if it could ever return, despite fan petitions circulating around to bring it back. So now we're at the chapter where each party comes off a tad scummy. Starting with Jordan's defense, as Kotaku was unable to locate any of the troll or rage faces, whatever you call them, as options to pull from on Open Game Art's library. Ramirez, being unsatisfied with the title's removal, due to it still obtaining a profit for 2.5 months, persisted in legally enforcing his, what he once called, harmless comic from when he was 18, now registered with the U.S. Copyright Office as of 2010.
Jeez.
It's estimated to have accumulated over $100,000 for him since, and had recently, not making this up, he signed a deal with sometimes actor Adam Sandler to produce a film based off it.
What?
Yeah. And he felt entitled to that revenue.
Okay, this is getting a little.
I mean,
crazy.
the movie industry greenlights stupid shit like this all the time, without it ever culminating in anything. But still,
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So it probably seemed more valuable to fight, with in 2014. Problem was, when he approached Jordan about that, he told him it hadn't earned him any cash to fork over. Ramirez then pointing out its status as an eShop top seller and anecdotal evidence taken from the WiiWare Plaza signifying that plenty of customers were playing it.
Yeah, man, I spent all that cash already. I don't know what you want from me.
Thing is, you don't need to own the game to post there.
Yeah.
So his metric, probably not totally accurate. Jordan replied by telling the interviewer that the figures he's implying are, quote, completely abstract and erroneous, that even if he was allowed to share the numbers, ignoring Nintendo's NDA, every developer must sign that those assessments were true. Ramirez, in an attempt to dig deeper, discovered from those close to Jordan that he wanted to use Meme Run to help fund his education, something he didn't previously dispute when asked on his mission to produce games.
It's a noble cause.
Yeah.
You don't understand
I support that.
Yeah.
Our Trollface owner kept demanding answers. How many units were downloaded? What was the cut? Was Nintendo even aware of the debacle? He was prepared to go to court for this, all while Jordan was dragging his feet.
Dang, the troll face guy is pretty serious.
Yeah, like hell-bent. Ramirez then publicly insulted and threatened Jordan, calling him, quote, the least mature person I've ever dealt with, and that he didn't know the extent of what consequences were brewing. He was increasingly angry at what it cost to pad out this process, too.
Jeez.
Yeah. Although wishing to get followers on his side of the mess, he did state that all Ninja Pig had to do to include his works was ask, and he would have given it gladly. Of course, we'll never really be sure if that's how it was going to even play out, if that had happened.
Yeah.
Outside of this, questioning around Nintendo's indie policies began to unfold as, like, with whether or not it was okay to open the floodgates to a wave of uploads coming from such inexperienced game designers without a proper understanding of the legal system. Ramirez continued to fight for his profitable baby. It was the money he was bent on, not the fame.
Yeah.
That didn't bother him in the slightest. Not that it could, with the character taking on a massive life of its own. People will completely forget that I made it, and I think that's cool, is what he said.
I looked it up, and he created an NFT out of the troll face and sold it for 69 Ethereum.
All right, I take it back. Fuck this guy.
Okay.
So
I'm Team Jordan.
there's your NFT. Now, Austin's NFT Minute. Brought to you by Coinbase.
You got about 45 more seconds. So
Open Seas. Sorry.
anything else you want to say?
NFTs are stupid and they're a scam, and crypto's stupid and it's a scam. But that's fine because money's also stupid and a scam.
All right, that was good.
This has been the NFT Minute.
But this, my friends, is where the trail runs dry. Only time will tell if that court date ever comes. As of today, there hasn't been any new updates past this. It is always possible that the battle was settled behind the scenes. Regardless, Jordan doesn't seem phased, as he has gone on to release other titles under the company. There was a 4-player Pictionary-style game for the Nook called Drawing Guess that did well. Tiny Birds, which was another mobile platformer that you controlled through touch. Both were geared towards the family or younger demographic. Elsewhere, eBay for a brief moment saw a sudden uptick in Wii U listings with inflated prices, a la PT, as the consoles that contained the delisted black sheep of the system's deactivated online archive were now being sought after by collectors and enthusiasts. It's tough to say what that worth is in 2021 with everything being so fucked, but its rarity is undeniable, I suppose.
Yeah.
In a shocking twist, Meme Run 2 appeared as a Steam exclusive on July 23rd, 2020, as it was and is $4.20.
Nice.
And doesn't feature the Ninja Pig branding. The lesser excited thing is, though, is that it no longer contains any actual memes, but instead knockoff versions of real memes.
Oh, man.
Admittedly failing to capture much of the original's charm. It did fine. But what happened to Meme Run 1 for Steam, you ask?
I didn't, but go on.
Well, I think it was in 2017, right? That Steam Greenlight was discontinued.
Yeah.
As a service. Yeah, it says it was early June 2017. The Switch continues to host the same amount, if not more, trash, like you mentioned, Austin, meaning this could all completely happen again. But that's it for today, I'm afraid. Press F for Meme Run. That or hunt down a Wii U if you dare. With it on there.
I wonder what would go for more, PT on a PS4 or Meme Run on a Wii U.
PT. Because people want it. Like, people want to play it. PT's amazing. Although, I would be curious to try this one day. Like, did you, download a demo, Austin?
No, I played it. I knew somebody that bought it.
Oh.
And then they pranked you with it, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it for like 3 minutes.
Was this person on the right side of history?
Yes.
They really got you for 3 minutes, bro.
Yeah. It said,
mate.
Bro.
Here's a Wii U game, and then, nope, Chuck Testa. Remember that one?
Yeah. I really like that one, actually. That song is a fucking banger.
Also, special thanks to Kotaku and Nintendo Life for assisting in my research. And thank you to Giant Bomb for bringing this hilarious abomination into my vision so I could tell its tale.
It goes without saying that you guys have covered everything from the most controversial to some of the weirdest topics in video games. I mean, use today's episode as an example.
I thank you.
But today I want to tell you a story of a gaming community coming together for a good cause. I would like to recount my personal experience with a little Easter egg hunt that threw almost an entire games community into a frenzy with some of the craziest and most far-fetched theories on how to solve it. But I'm not talking about any gaming community. I'm talking about one of the most ravenous, die-hard, and one of the most committed gaming communities out there. I'm talking about the beloved game company From Software and their first Souls game that started it all, sorta, Demon Souls. Recently, the title was handed off to the extremely capable and skilled developers.
Wait, which Demon Souls? No, I'm kidding. you mean or not? Yeah.
Yeah.
PS3 one.
It was handed off to the extremely capable and skilled developers at Blue Point Games, who were tasked with the job of remaking the game for Sony's next generation console. You may have heard of it, the PS5.
They don't make those. It's a myth.
It's a launch title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And I'm sure that
Blue Point also great at having masters and stuff. They just got bought by Sony.
Yes.
Right?
which will come up later.
Oh.
I'm sure that even if you're not a fan of the game or series, it's undeniable that people that love these games, they really love these games.
Oh, yeah.
The lore, everything.
And that the discovery of a new, never-before-seen door that was not in the original game, people started scratching their heads and started using those heads to try and figure out how to open it. Now, as a fan of watching people speedrun these games, break these games, explore every nook and cranny possible, all the way down to the game's source code, snooping around for shelved ideas and concepts that never saw the light of day,
That's cool.
Yeah, that you can imagine people were chomping at the bit to be the first one to figure out what lies behind the mystery door. While I'm going to share my personal...
It's too much power for one person.
Yeah. So I'm going to share my personal story with the door's discovery, the insane theories being tossed around in Twitch chats and Reddit threads, as well as the inevitable opening of the door by a known Souls game speedrunner / variety streamer, Distortion 2, who I've personally been a fan of for a while.
Right on. And we got some direct participation here. I didn't even get to play Meme Run.
So grab your shield and sword and take a personal trip with me through the kingdom of Boletaria to find out how to open, as well as what lies beyond the door that sent so many fans into a frenzy, and how those dastardly developers at Blue Point Games stoked the flames in real time as if they were laughing from atop the Boletaria Palace.
Wait,
I journeyed into Boletaria. I quit after 2 bosses.
Yeah, I'm going to get into my feelings on Dark Souls. Actually, right now, let me start off by saying that I'm a huge fan of the Souls games from a third-party perspective.
Same.
Okay?
Okay.
I think these games are awesome. I think they have style for days.
Yeah.
I just can't get over the hump.
They're not for me, but I respect the hell out of what they do. Yeah.
Elden Ring looks awesome.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to get very far into it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Now, I've played nearly all of the Souls games, but only one to completion, and that was with the help of a guide. Sadly, yeah, I'm that guy.
Wait, which one?
Dark Souls 2.
The one that Miyazaki didn't direct.
And
right?
it was the one that...
the most divisive.
They released a later version that was like Scholar of the First Sin that like messed with the game. I think it took enemies from certain areas and like put them in other areas, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that, but...
That's something what they do in like Zelda and Resident Evil speedruns. I forget what they call it when they...
Randomizer?
Yeah. But did you play Bloodborne?
I played everything. Actually, I got like halfway through Bloodborne.
Okay.
And that again is just like I have an issue with games that kind of like send you out into a world and like hope you figure out point A to point B.
I'm with you.
I'm much more of a linear game fan.
Yeah.
I like to be, just directed in a certain way. So
Yeah. The furthest I ever got was
agree.
Sekiro.
Oh really?
I mean,
Isn't that level based? No, not Neo is.
Yeah,
or Nioh.
it's not. They're all somewhat level based. Demon Souls especially is.
Okay.
But
Well, there's hubs, but
I made it to the second boss in Demon Souls, the third boss in Bloodborne, the second boss in Dark Souls 1, the first boss in Dark Souls 2, the third boss in Dark Souls 3, and the fourth boss in Sekiro.
Which one is often credited as to being the hardest? Is that
I don't really
Dark
know
Souls?
that.
Dark Souls 2 has a reputation for being hard, but that's because apparently it wasn't made correctly.
Oh.
I
mean, they all do to some extent.
They're weird because you'll ask a person, like I remember hearing for the longest time that Demon Souls was far and away the hardest.
Oh.
And then I talked to fellow Hot Button contributor Matt Nudaboom about Demon Souls, and he says that's the easiest one.
Really?
And he's beaten Dark Souls 1.
I thought they would have become like, more
2,
accessible as they get.
And Bloodborne and Demon Souls. So a lot of people say
Let's play 'em all.
Bloodborne is the easiest. Other people say Bloodborne is the hardest.
Yeah.
I've heard Dark Souls 3 is very hard.
I guess it varies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if fans get what they want, Elden Ring will be the hardest. Because as they keep coming out with games.
I'll say this little Elden Ring tangent because you didn't watch the video.
Mm-mm.
So it looks like they took everything.
It's open world.
They listened and they took a lot of things people liked about Bloodborne, a lot of things people liked about Sekiro, and a lot of things that people liked about Dark Souls, and smushed them all together into what is essentially a Breath of the Wild shell. It looks very Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I could get that off of the first trailer that they showed. I think today was mostly gameplay, correct?
Yeah, and it's open world, so you can kind of like tackle it in any order in the same way you would Breath of the Wild, but it seems like they're going to be a little bit more hand-holdy in the direction that you have to go. There's like a waypoint system and like a map screen.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Goes without saying that the Souls games have lore that is shrouded in mystery, and I guess to a certain degree left up to interpretation with little hints scattered throughout the worlds. I mean, artistic and conceptual styles that ride the line between horrifying and absolutely captivating. Honestly, these games are, in my opinion, milestones in gaming achievements, but are very divisive as to who they appeal to and who really, quote, unquote, gets it.
Yeah.
Love them or hate them, they're here to stay. So
they sure are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get Blue Point Games' involvement out of the way real quick so we can get to the meat of the story. Blue Point is a game development studio that through the years have made a name for themselves with remastering old favorites and breathing new life while bringing them to newer consoles for both old and new players to experience and enjoy.
Yeah, they did like Shadow of the Colossus and
The Metal Gear Collection.
Yeah, the Metal Gear Collection.
They made their game debut with their only non-remaster / remake game, Blast Factor, which is noted on Wikipedia to be the first console game with 1080p 60 FPS and was released for the PS3 in 2006.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Which was also a launch title. It's actually kind of interesting to read up on that.
Is it like Blast Core?
No.
It's like a top-down arcade shooter.
Yeah.
They would go on to do the God of War collection for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita in 2009, Ico's Shadow of Colossus.
Oh, they did Ico too as well. There.
Yeah.
Not Ico too.
Yeah. Ico and Shadow of Colossus collection and Metal Gear Solid HD collection, a few other ports.
Rumor has it they're making a from the ground up Metal Gear Solid 1, which
speculated. Yeah,
Twin Snakes already exist, people.
They're keeping a tight lip on that, but so a few other ports and remasters later brings us to 2020, where they have the privilege of taking on From Software's first officially titled Souls game, Demon Souls.
It was a surprising announcement.
Yeah. A launch title for the PS5. Funny side note here, Blast Factor was a launch title for the PS3. So
was it a... God, no, sorry, keep going. I just want to Google a picture of this box. Like
I think it was digital.
It's digital.
But
it was digital?
Yeah.
Okay.
They would do such a good job with Demon Souls that Sony would later acquire them in September 2021 and finally put a ring on it. I'm honestly personally really...
Or handcuffs.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on how you look at it, I guess.
No, that's probably a good partnership.
I'm really excited to see what they do next, but let's move on to the topic at hand. Now, we roll the clocks back almost a year to the date. It's November 12th, 2020. PS5s are showing up at doorsteps across the country.
Sometimes.
Or you're going out to a store and trying to weather those lines.
No, that ain't happening.
No. I think it was mostly they were arriving on doorsteps.
Yeah.
Mine, in particular, showed up on launch day. Luckily enough, got mine through Amazon.
Wow, good for you.
Um,
Did your show up launch day?
No. Remember?
Yes. Yeah.
Mine showed up a couple days late, so then I bought another one, and you picked it up,
Yeah, that's what I bought.
and then I
from.
gave you my other one.
Thank you, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
we all got one.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
We did.
Yep.
During, like, peak pandemic shit,
Right.
too. It was,
And with this,
Ugh.
and with the launch of this console, an old PlayStation 3 favorite, fully redone for next generation, is back for players old and new, and people are loving it.
it looked like it's a showpiece for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely.
Like, what the console's
It is
capable of.
absolutely beautiful what they did to this game, and
Runs
it's
well.
not surprising that the game still holds up. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip over some of the finer details because this game franchise as a whole is dense, and we're here to talk about this dang door. So tucked away in a
Secret
seemingly
door.
tucked away in a seemingly useless alleyway in World 1 Area 3, just like the original, lies an illusionary wall. So for those who are not familiar, an illusionary wall is just like a normal wall, but when it's struck, the wall disappears and shows a passageway, a secret room, something like that.
Mm.
And this time, unlike the original game, where you're met with another wall, there appears to be something that was not in the original, a mysterious door. A torch on the wall, a sack perched up against that wall, a canteen, and a broken pendant / door knocker on the steps.
Wasn't there a pendant? Sorry, you just reminded me in like Dark Souls 1 that nobody knew what it did.
There's a lot of shit in these games.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nobody knows
it's
what they did.
yeah, definitely. These things are way
Yeah.
obscure and way like, you know.
But you're saying this is on brand, like for them to be
Absolutely.
like, yeah,
Yeah, so there's
they're encouraging that.
2 wooden
exploration.
doors, ornate with 6 golden sigils. I'm trying to paint a picture in your mind here.
What's a sigil?
Like little ornaments, I guess.
Okay.
Just like
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did
and
you say what's a sigil?
Yeah.
It's just like a
emblem.
icon, emblem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm making fun of me for not knowing, but apparently it's a hard question to answer, or thing to describe.
It's because it's such a common thing. You need
Oh,
to
do
be.
you
You need
have
to.
sigils hanging all around your house?
Yeah. Do you know what a crucifix is?
I mean, we didn't have them hanging up here. I know what they
Yeah,
are.
you fucking heathen.
You needed God in this house. it sounds
Yeah,
like.
you need Jesus.
So the discovery was made, and just like that, the race was on to figure out what was required to open it and what it was hiding. Now, luckily, in the world of the internet / online gaming communities, word traveled fast.
Oh, I bet.
So on November 14th, a little late, I don't think this was the first time somebody found it. It was 2 days later,
Oh, I was gonna say, when did the PS5 launch?
the 12th.
12th.
Yeah, it was day and day with the Demon Souls.
Yeah.
So November 14th, a Reddit user posted a video of the door titled, quote, "Does anyone know how to open this door in 1-3?" End quote. And with that, work began solving this mystery of this new door. So people quickly started positing theories on if this door was somehow linked to the game's 6th archstone. Apparently, this area was supposed to be called the Northern Limit or Limits, content that was cut from the original game pretty early in development. So that's why there's only 5 archstones in it. I think their scope was 6.
Was there DLC for the OG Demon Souls?
No.
Okay. I knew the Dark Souls games were big into that. So.
And was this door a DLC barrier of some sorts?
Oh, there you go.
Or maybe it was somehow linked to the other locked mystery door in Bloodborne, which was apparently also contained some cut content as well. Yeah, and people were just throwing anything out there to try and make sense of it.
Yeah.
Now,
All the theories.
what was quickly figured out, however, was that through the newly introduced camera system, you could move the point of view into a far off reaching area. I mean, it had limits, but it was pretty...
Is it like a photo mode or something?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Using this camera system,
Clip through the wall or?
that was one
Okay.
thing that was done. But you were able to see beyond the door, and not only that, people used it in the alleyway that was like on the side of where the door supposedly led into,
Okay.
so you could kind of see over. So you could see that it was a courtyard. It had 2 fountains, one of which was broken, lost to time, a few benches. Laying on top of one of the benches was a corpse, which looked like a slain soldier, with a glowing white item indicator that was enough to make people curious.
Oh,
So
that'll do it. As soon as
Yeah.
you can see something that it's like that you could pick up.
yeah,
then-
and then you can't reach it. It's
Yeah.
like people are going crazy already. So really quick, Blue Point has a history with inserting Easter eggs in their remasters, at least with Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh,
There was a door that needed 79 coins that were scattered throughout the world.
They were 10 off.
10 too many.
I remember this though.
Yeah.
Talking about
So
collecting them all.
what you had to do is you just collected all of them, I believe.
Wasn't it kind of anticlimactic though, if I'm not mistaken?
I forget. I did look it up,
Yeah.
and I had known from when this was all going on. I researched videos.
I remember being
and
like
I
a
was
little
is it
unceremonious.
connected? Yeah, Blue
Uh,
Point just back to their old tricks.
Yeah. Get
So-
a trophy.
Right. So naturally, one of the first theories was, let's collect 79 gold coins and see what that does.
Ooh, yeah, if there's like cross game.
Right. And there were gold
What's going
coins in
on?
the game, and the gold coins were dropped in the world by an enemy called the Fat Official. Yep.
that's
Some
the
people
best they got. Huh?
some people went to this Fat Official and kept farming him for his damn gold coins, which were a rare drop.
All right,
But were met with pretty expected results.
nothing.
No go.
Nada.
No, not 79 coins from the Fat Official. That would have been too easy. So we go back to the door. We start examining it. What about the sack leaning up against the wall in front of the door that seemed like it was showing a face peeking out from a ripped hole in the
Creepy.
side? Yeah, with the photo mode, there was filters. And if you like put on like some of the filters or like increase the contrast or the
Yeah,
brightness, people were like making out a face and they were like, who's in that damn bag? Or maybe
Wow.
it was the canteen on the steps or the broken door knocker / pendant looking item on the ground. People were diving as deep as they possibly could for clues.
Mm.
Another personal favorite theory of mine was that within the credits of the game, it shows areas throughout the world, just kind of recapping your adventures and things like that. But there was these weird, silly goat faces in seemingly random places, like on a wall, on a tree face, inside running lava, amongst many others. I mean,
Huh.
I don't remember exactly how many there were.
It's cute.
Players went down that. There was definitely a lot of time spent on
Like-
all of these
Holy shit.
just basically useless theories. So would going to these locations give us any information or ideas about the door? Didn't really seem like anything was there when the areas were searched. Nothing players were doing, nor the theories being crafted, were seeming to lead anyone basically anywhere. Hours poured into dead ends led people to some pretty restless methods. One particular streamer / speedrunner, known as Distortion 2, whom I've been watching obsessively throughout this entire process, was working through everything he deemed viable, and he finally had enough.
Fuck this.
And he did what he does best. He started to try and break the game.
Yep.
So,
Busted out his Game Shark.
Yeah,
His
he-
action replay.
I mean, people, this was over days.
And the
This is
debug,
like, I know I just condensed it down to a few paragraphs.
yeah.
I think we were 2-3 days in, and I'm not kidding. I was watching this guy from the start. He's like my favorite Souls guy, speedrunner.
There probably
guy.
was like a lot of people in chat were like, "Try this. Did you? Look
Oh
through
my
this?"
gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
He definitely was getting tilted by people just tossing out random ideas,
Yeah.
and I do not blame him at all because I was
Getting
even
to the breaking point.
I don't like type a bunch. I'm a lurker,
Mhm.
so I'm watching
Yeah.
people do this, and I'm like, what really makes you think that that is feasible,
Yeah.
or that makes any sense, or there's any connection? Yeah, it was really interesting to watch, but yeah, he was just like, screw this, man. I've had enough. So
I'm ripping this thing open.
yeah, and he did.
Violating the NDA.
So full disclosure, I don't know the first thing about game development or really how games work as a whole. So bear with me on this one.
Bad news for you because I know everything.
But players were able to discover that there was a glitch, an exploit, whatever you want to call it. Basically, this was found where walking into a wall while textures were loading after reloading a save file or launching the game
Oh my god.
would allow the character model to slightly enter the wall's collision. And then when the wall's texture/collision fully loaded in seconds later, the character model is propelled upwards for some reason. I don't know. Nowhere to go but up, I guess.
All right.
So, like I said, I don't know how it technically works, but that was enough for people to start working on using this method to potentially figure out how to reach behind the mystery door and land into the courtyard where the much sought-after item was located.
No, this is what you were meant to do.
Yeah.
It totally is designed.
Yeah. So after hours of attempts and some pretty creative work, I mean, I have to say, it was mind-boggling watching this guy bend and break and twist this game to his will. He had a goal in mind, and
It's coming apart.
the amount of like save quitting, reloading, finding the right angle, the right pixel to put his character model to get it pushed up into like some far-reaching area.
That's tough to do in modern games too. Like I always associate that type of like, you know, like brute force with your pre 360 and PS3 era. Like,
I think it's just as easy to do shit like that now.
you think so?
Games are made on a very tight timelines. They don't really test for everything.
No,
Yeah, it's funny. I
I guess
definitely
it's impossible.
I thought the same thing, but when these guys get their hands on these games, I'm speaking solely about the Souls community, pretty much any gaming community, like Metroid Dread is under an hour and a half in speedruns, and
Mhm.
you're
That
skipping.
didn't take long.
Yeah, you're skipping portions
Yeah,
of it
I
and
watched,
things like that.
what was it, like a 20-minute speed run of Deathloop?
Oh, really? Oh,
What?
yeah, yeah. So pretty funny. Distortion, when that
I
game
thought that
came
game
out,
was still structured in a way
he
to
ran
gate,
that
like-
game briefly.
It is.
Gotcha.
But you
Like a
can
sequence.
Sequence breaking.
Yeah.
So the
and-
funny thing about Deathloop, is that it is technically one of those games where it's like, you know what you're doing, you can do it all first try, because it's like a loop,
Mm-hmm.
but the first loop is all tutorialized,
Yeah,
and it is
yeah,
very
yeah.
heavily gated. No,
Yeah.
they just like clip through a wall and go to a different area and skip half the tutorial.
All right, well then I rescind what I said.
Yeah.
I guess this is more my personal, like, you know, childhood with fucking around with PS1 and N64 games, and then
Oh,
like,
yeah,
GameCube and PS2
I think
games
it's
and
harder.
stuff.
I think it's harder to, like Sean was saying, I think now it's harder to figure out.
Oh,
Like
but if
in
you
the
know,
N64 days, it just kind of happened naturally. But if you
Yeah.
know, like if you're a speedrunner and you know how to tear these games apart at the seams,
then, yeah.
you can really do it now.
I mean, games are also more complicated than they've ever been.
Doom
so there's
Eternal.
more moving pieces.
Doom Eternal is another one.
Oh, I've seen videos of that. People will like slingshot themselves through like
The entire map.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's always funny too, because speedrunners are like, I don't know why it works. It just works,
Yeah.
and I get it half the time.
How the
Shout
fuck
out-
do you
shout out
discover
to,
that the first time?
Shout out to IGN. They have a phenomenal series called Devs React.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've
Where
seen
they
some of
just
those.
they show the devs of a game a speedrun, because the
Because they don't
speedrunner,
even know. They're like,
like
oh.
Sean said, the speedrunner's just like, I don't know why it works, and then the dev is just like, I know exactly why that works.
Oh,
and then
really?
They explain it. Yeah.
I guess it's like they didn't know that it was found.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going through, I think the one I watched in like recent memory to completion was the Control one, and they were like, wow, they really took advantage of that. And
Yeah.
we went back and cleaned that up, and
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it's like,
The Deathloop one was interesting because they had internal speedruns.
oh, really?
Huh.
The play
I
testers
wanted to
would
watch that one, yeah.
The play
So it's like
testers
if
would
they
speed
knew
run the
how to-
games, and they found some of these exploits and like purposefully left them in.
Right.
And
That's
then
cool.
in the Doom Eternal
Who
one,
comes out on top though? The community or the
in the Doom Eternal one, there was like
the crew?
one of the guys who worked on Doom Eternal was just like, all right, so here's a question I genuinely want to know. So we're watching this now, and he's like, I could go back to the office, and in a couple of weeks, I could have
Patch
all
this.
these bugs fixed. Would the speedrunning community want me to fix them so that there's more challenges for them to try to break? Or do they want me to leave them in so that their speedruns stay relevant?
Huh? Wow, I don't know
I don't
how
know
to.
I don't know what answer he
Yeah.
got. But yeah.
I will say
That's a
this
tough
from my experience in watching
spot to be in.
GDQs and things like that.
Mhm.
They very much fear patches
Yeah.
because patches typically take out broken things,
Yeah,
and a lot that factors into routing and breaking a game is the broken things.
With old physical, like with cartridges and like or discs before they had to like press new ones for a different version, you'll frequently see it like HDQ and stuff. It'll be like version 1.1 or something of Mario 64. Or...
Yeah, so with Distortion 2 going to some pretty, extreme means to try and get in, he was making his way up the top of a building to the roof that lied directly beside and above the courtyard, so he had a good trajectory to jump off and land in, right inside there. And like I said before, I can't overstate how floored I was by this. I in real time was watching this guy through sheer willpower and with the help of this pretty useful glitch. He made it within jumping strike distance of the courtyard, and he jumped. Now,
I mean, it's entrancing with the mystery at the center.
Right, right.
Yeah, because it's a simple concept. What's on the other side of the door?
Exactly.
Like, it's like if you're a kid, that's like intriguing.
So he jumped. Now I know what you're thinking. All right, this guy just skirted the entire thrill of the hunt and just exploited his way past this beautifully crafted secret developed by Blue Point Games, right? Well, not exactly. Distortion 2's character landed...
What's in Al Capone's vault? Tell me.
Landed in thin air. That's right. Blue Point Games took every precaution necessary to protect their secret from the unthinkable,
what the fuck?
but the not unachievable out-of-bounds attempt. These developers...
It's an extra layer. Fuck you.
Right. These developers encased the area in an invisible walled-off box to ensure that players only had the ability to open the door the
by
way
traditional
that it was
means.
intended. Yeah.
Man.
Now, if
that is some like
if it weren't
foresight,
if it weren't for the foresight on Blue Point's part to expect something like this from the Souls community, I mean, these guys kind of had a reputation,
right? Sure.
That's exactly where our story would have ended.
Damn, that's like the definition of knowing your audience.
Right. So this attempt was unsuccessful, so back to the drawing board, but this time they really had to figure it out. A little side note here, I can't remember if it was before or after his out-of-bounds attempt. It was a slurry of, and days started mixing together.
It's all blur.
But Blue Point's official...
Try collecting 89 coins.
Blue Point's official Twitter account posted a picture from inside the courtyard area, behind the door, on an image...
Oh, they're in on it.
Right. And it was an image on what looked like a postcard that said, "Wish you were here," in quotes. And they tagged a bunch of streamers that were playing the game.
Oh, boy.
That's fucking great.
Yeah, I love that shit. Like,
yeah.
Hats off to these guys for live tweeting and taunting members of the community. They had to have been watching, and I love that kind of engagement from developers.
Yeah.
So moving on. As I stated, I'm not a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this game's mechanics, systems, but I'm going to try my best.
Okay.
So in the game, there's a statue that you can go up to, and you can enter what is called fractured mode, which basically inverts the world horizontally and also takes into account another game mechanic, which is called world tendencies.
Was that in the original?
Yes.
Oh.
World tendencies are basically like good and bad karma.
Is it like a second game underneath, like Symphony of the Night style? And just
kind of. It's like, it's definitely in that mindset.
All right.
Because it's not an inverted castle.
Yeah.
But it's a horizontal flip.
But you wouldn't do that unless you've already played through, like...
I mean, I think you can access it in the base, like in the, just like from New Game. So...
I know if it's just like extending the tail onto like what there is to see. And
no, they literally have a way for you to flip the world and then add in like another aspect, which I think is really, really cool. Again, it just speaks to the level of development from, because again, this was in the original game, so it's from Soft. I'm pretty sure that where all this was already implemented and everything like that. So, now world tendencies are like I said, good and bad karma. Areas can either have pure white or pure black tendency with other variations in between. It's kind of like a scale, right? So I think it's neutral, and then it's like slightly black, and then kind of some more black, and then it's pure black, and then it's the reverse way for white.
That's dense. There's a lot of options then.
Yeah, it's like a karma system for what you do in the world. Like, if you beat a boss, it's a...
Oh, it'll go
right.
one way or
if
another
you
on the spectrum.
Die or whatever, black. If you kill an invader, white. So
you have like visual representation of where you are in there?
It shows under, I think in the game, it shows under the archstone, kind of like, it's like a color wheel. So it's like,
okay.
If it's slightly more white and then a kind of a little bit more white and then it's like white.
Does it determine like ending or like change anything narratively, or is it just more for?
I don't know how much further it goes beyond how it applies to the story, to be completely honest.
Okay.
Again,
it might not at all. It might just be for like just your own.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it has a purpose. Outside of that, I think.
I mean, it's cool. That means it's counting, like it's cataloging all of your actions.
Yeah, which I think is really cool. So it's like I said, a karma system, which other games have, but it's kind of unique in this sense because you know how it ties into the game. But since I'm not the most knowledgeable about the mechanics, if you are interested, you can read up about it on the game's wiki. It goes into an in-depth thing. But this is microtransactions.
Like as long as War and Peace.
Listen, yeah, I don't have enough time to go over how a Dark Souls or Demon Souls or any Souls game works, quote unquote. But all you need to know.
I'm sure you know much more than I ever could.
Sure. But all that you need to know is that when in these pure world tendencies in certain areas, an item can be found. A Reddit user posted a video of him finding an item crudely hidden under some breakable boxes in the environment in fractured mode with pure white tendency. The item they found was a ceramic coin.
Just one.
Yeah.
78 more to go.
Can you fucking imagine if that was like...
So let me give you a little...
A coin made of ceramic is also just a...
I'll give you
it's a coaster.
I'll give you the description.
You just drop it.
I'll give you the description, okay? Ceramic coin, a cheap coin of dried clay, crushed to recover a tiny amount of HP. And then there's flavor text.
That's what it says in the menu?
Yes.
And you can just, like, use it?
Yes.
It's just a perishable, like, little bit of health?
Yeah, like a negligible amount of HP. And then underneath is flavor text. It says, extremely brittle and fragile. The glimmer has faded, much like the value. So, with the discovery of this item...
Was there a middle finger carved onto it?
Not quite. It looked pretty crudely created. But
MS Paint. It's just everything else is like 3D rendered.
But with the discovery of the coin theory is back on the table. I mean,
huck it at the door.
So players started scouring all over the game's areas
for more coins.
Right. In both pure white and pure black tendencies, and they were successful. I don't know how much time passed, but 10 were located in total.
Oh my God, it took this long to find the one. Like,
right. I think we're like 3 or 4 days in at this point. 5 from each pure world tendency, pure white, pure black.
They seem to do all the ones in between there. Taking.
These were hidden under breakable environmental items, tables, boxes, barrels, shelves, anything that you could roll your body into and destroy.
Yeah, fat roll.
But players had 10 coins now, so what next? Well, there was...
I mean, how do you know when you found them all?
Right. So there was an NPC that had an interesting interaction when you traded the item, or I can't remember if you just drop it and that was the form of trading. But when you presented the item to this NPC, the NPC's name was Sparkly the Crow. Literally a gigantic crow that talked.
I thought that character was also in Dark Souls. Maybe I'm flipping. Just because I've seen a lot of...
I don't know if Sparkly there's another crow return, but there is another gigantic bird that picks you up when you crawl up into an egg in the original Dark Souls.
Yeah. Man, you know what? I just thought, what if you accidentally used it? I mean, I guess you'd just reload a save, but I was just like, if you go through the menu, you're like, oh, fuck.
So when presented with the item, she would say, quote, Sparkly, happy, end quote. But then she would drop this. But then she would drop the item back on the ground for you to pick up. Now players had hit another seemingly dead end, which led them to attempt to dupe the item. Oh yeah, by the way, at this point players discovered a duping glitch. Yep.
Hey, we'll get to 89 coins real fast now.
Right.
And that wasn't patched out.
No, it may have been patched out later,
Okay,
but
but not at this time.
It was implemented in a different way. There was those gold
It's
coins.
like rare candy in Pokemon.
I forget exactly how it worked. I am stretching back a year in memory, and I don't have the best one. But there was an exploit that players are using to make their luck become like a random numerical number that went up into like the millions. And then that factored in. Yeah, it was like the duping glitch paired with some item and then duping it and then spending them all. And then it made your luck go up like exponentially. It was that, again, they just reappropriated it here. They were like, we've already duped that one coin. Let's see what we can do with this one.
But they don't even know how many they need or if they need more.
So you're throwing shit at a fan and hoping something, you know.
But the Crow's dialogue, that was triggered specifically by having...
Right, with that item.
Yeah.
Right. So the way that the dupe worked was it would involve dropping or trading items with another player. You can't directly trade something in this game because of the way the multiplayer works, because people are summoned to your world, so then you would have to drop an item on the ground.
You can't take anything if you from someone if you kill them?
So, no, I think you get something from that, but in this instance, yeah, and you invade as two different types of spirits. You either invade as a like a bad spirit, or you invade as like a cooperative spirit. Yeah, so so basically the way the dupe worked was like you would drop an item or trade something, and then you would roll back your save. Again, kind of combing over the finer details here because it's not really relevant. But yeah, these guys were relentless. They were trying anything. But Team Blue Point strikes again.
Dude, they're 2 steps ahead.
When the ceramic coin is dropped on the ground and picked up by another player, it becomes a broken coin and is basically rendered useless.
That's literally the joke I said like minutes ago, is that it was like a...
So, I don't know, for everybody keeping score at home, this is Team Blue Point 2, Souls Community 0.
Dude, you know that's like the members of their team are just like all keeping up with this and just being like...
They're like, suckers, you really thought that was going to work? All right, so now what? With players running out of ideas and new discoveries grinding to a halt, where do we go from here? And at this point, I kind of want to credit Vati Vidya. He's another guy I was following throughout this and actually became aware of through this whole process. I watched his video and he had an addition to this whole story that I don't remember happening. But someone finally found an 11th coin. A community member posted on Twitter a picture of his character that looked an awful lot like Shrek finding a coin in a far off place in a vast swamp area. Could this be true? We've scoured this entire world. You know what I mean? It's at this point, it's basically...
It's safe to say it's charted territory.
Yeah. And these guys, I mean, like I said, you have like a huge gaming community. Not that many as I guess you would have because of PS5s not being available. But the people that had
that is a factor.
They were working on it. No, this was just a troll. I mean, come on. A Shrek character finding a coin in a swamp. Good joke, but this unfortunately was a distraction. And like I said, I have to credit Vati Vidya's video because that was a nice little interjection. I guess everybody was going crazy, so they thought, hey, let's kind of spice it up a bit.
I'd be shocked if we made it this far and there wasn't
yeah, again, a real cast of characters. A real cast of characters, this Dark Souls community. A lot of content creators love poking fun at each other, playing pranks on each other.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure they're all aware of like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But somebody actually did find an 11th coin. This time it wasn't a joke. But this through a newly created theory that each world only had 2 coins into the trash. So players kept looking. Another coin, maybe there's another. There's a 12th, a 13th. Maybe it goes up to 20.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, like
maybe we weren't looking
when you know to stop.
Right, exactly. While other players continued their search, we come back to my main man, Distortion 2. Now you see, Demon Souls, like the rest of the Souls series, has a New Game Plus mode. This allows players to play the game over again multiple times with their pre-existing character, exactly, while increasing the difficulty and monster health a little bit each time. He decided that he would go through New Game Plus and get 11 coins that we've already been able to find for each playthrough, and then just, I'll just stop it back in with Sparkly the Crow at the end and see if anything happens.
Yeah, if he says anything different.
Guess what? This method worked.
Real? I mean, him saying happy is kind of being like, you're on the right path.
Yeah, I mean, no other NPC had an interaction with the coin like this.
Yeah, I'm sure they tried everybody.
Again, the coin was found in such an obscure area. Like, you had to be in fractured mode. You had to be in pure white or pure black tendencies. That's the only place where these coins showed up. So they were finally on the right track, and he just was like, screw it. I'll go get 11, check in, 22, check in, 33. So after completing...
Then he's like, you've got too much.
So after completing his third playthrough, he had 34 coins in hand, and he said, why not check in with Sparkly, see if anything happens? But this time, something different did happen.
Oh.
After dropping 30 coins in front of Sparkly, and then I think reloading his save, because it was like a timed thing, like you had to leave the area and come back. I rewatched the video of him discovering this, and he just reloaded his save. So I think it has something to do with how Sparkly reacts to items or how they trade. I don't know. He did that. He dropped 30 coins, reloaded, and then there was an item laying on the ground. It was the rusted key. Description, a key covered in red rust.
It breaks off in the door.
And he was like...
just sprinted there.
Yeah, he was like... I think his words were, we did it!
Did you see that live?
I saw that live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, like I said,
That's
I
awesome.
had been tracking this through Reddit.
So like 3 a.m. one night or something?
I was staying up pretty late. This dude was streaming ungodly hours. He was putting in so much time, so much work, so much effort. But the whole community was. Like, people wanted to figure this out. It was something new. It was something exciting. I mean, these games are already mysterious as is, but this one is...
And it's hard to make games mysterious in 2020. Like, it's...
So he finally did it. He rushed back to the door.
People self-ship fast.
And opened it. And like I said before, I was live and in person. It was fucking awesome to be a part of this, like, community effort. I mean, again, granted that he just kept throwing shit at a wall and just trying to see what
That's the only way. That's how...
But he did it. So... finally, after about a week, it was over. Beyond the door was the courtyard with the corpse laying on the bench. And all that was left now was to loot the item on it.
It was another coin.
And then it was like another...
it just keeps going.
Just keeps going. It's this
There's
endless...
a smaller door in the courtyard.
But so
what's the item?
So he goes up to the item. And he goes, "You guys ready?" He presses the correct button, and in attempting to do so, the game prompted him and claimed that the item was too heavy.
The encumbrance.
Yes, he had too much crap in his inventory, and he would have to free up some space in order to pick it up. Fucking video games, dude.
That's
Yeah, this momentous occasion, this cool community thing.
That's the part that you leave out in the history books.
He's like, "Oh shit, guys, I gotta like empty some stuff. I don't even know how heavy this thing is." So
it's his whole inventory.
Again, I think he was on his 8th playthrough of the game.
It was a neutron star in there.
I think I remember him being in the pause menu and seeing like, times or like new game,
right?
Runs. It's like 8. And I'm like, damn, this dude was chugging on one file. And again, like I said before, the game gets harder each time, but he was an expert,
I knew he knew what he was doing.
Dude, took advantage of this game.
He probably was familiar with the original too, so he's had like 10 years.
I'm pretty sure he's speedrun every single one.
Okay.
At some capacity. So, but the item was not just one item; it was actually 4 items, and it was called the Penetrator's Armor Set, based on one of the bosses in the game, simply called Penetrator. Get it? Penetrator door. He penetrated the door.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, that's not where my mind went when you said penetrator.
I was like, it was like the dildo bat from Saints Row 3. It was like
that's a real crossover. So really quick, the armor description reads, quote, "Reward for surpassing impossible odds," end quote.
Cool. Does it make you just like invulnerable or something?
No, it had some more more game related descriptors on it. Like, I think you fare better against slashing attacks or something like that.
What does it look like aesthetically? Was it?
So it looked like the boss. It was actually the boss's armor set just shrunk down to be like a little pipsqueak, demon soul slayer that you are. But it was a sick ass set. And
Man, imagine like that feeling of like you're the only person in the world that has this.
well,
Like in the game
until everybody else
Well, of
catch
course,
up,
well,
caught up.
he's broadcasting it for
Right.
to
Yeah,
it's collaborative, but I just more mean like in that moment.
yeah.
Like it's
In the video
No one
too,
else
I
has
think his
worn this yet.
girlfriend walked in while he was like putting the armor set on,
yeah.
and he's like, "I did it." She was like, "What?" You opened it. It was pretty cool.
He's like covered in beer, and this dude, or covered in a beer, and
This
it just
dude-
has like coffee cans of Monster Energy.
This
all
dude was racking up serious hours, and he was streaming all of it. You know what I mean? So this was a week later. Like this dude had to be absolutely exhausted amongst the
Yeah.
other content creators, Twitch streamers,
his
community
bags under
members.
his ready.
Yeah,
to
everybody
sleep.
wanted to be the first one,
Yeah.
and I started with like watching this guy.
This is archived, right? For like you can
Yeah,
watch
it's on.
it on YouTube.
It's on his Twitch, in his VODs. It's posted on his YouTube. Yeah,
Cool. Yeah. I'll
So with
have to
that,
check it out.
and with that, I'm fairly certain that Distortion 2 was the first person to open the secret door in Demon Souls. Pretty cool stuff. I mean,
I love that it's documented. Like I wonder if there's anything left to unearth in that, because that's
I was doing a bit of research and just kind of getting
It's a hell of a
reacquainted. Like I said, I had
adventure.
like a not so detailed memory of the encounter and things like that. And there's a bunch of stuff, like I said, that I didn't quite go over through because it's just too far out there and kind of not really, plays to the story. You can imagine the theories that people were, presenting, saying like links to the like Game of Thrones and stuff like that. I remember some weird ones and things like that. But yeah, so after finishing and doing a bit of research for the script, I believe there are actually 13 possible coins that you can get in one playthrough throughout the world.
But you're still intended to do this like multiple runs. Like,
So, yes, this means that
As
you would need to
designed.
complete the game entirely on New Game Plus mode. So you have to beat the game twice and get every coin once through one playthrough and then again through another playthrough.
at least it's not 8, but
Right.
it's
Uh,
still.
I was definitely inspired to do so for myself. This was such an awesome adventure to follow along and watch. But then I remembered I would actually have to play through the game. and-
You're like, I'm not gonna do.
As I stated earlier, me and Souls games don't have the best relationship. They exist. I avoid them, but love them from a distance,
Yeah.
kind of like a creepy stalker. But no, like I said, I absolutely love these games. It's just from a player perspective, it's a hump I can't get over, difficulty wise and things like that.
I relate to that.
I also noted when I was doing notes for the script that I believe that 26 somehow ties into From Software's first game in some way, and it does.
Oh,
From Software's first game release, from what I could come up with, was 26 years ago in 2020. So it's like a little shout out to FromSoft. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's 13 coins twice, 26 coins in total to get the key from
That
Sparkly.
seems
the Pro.
intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can't be a coincidence.
No.
I mean, the
Like-
thought and meaning behind this type of secret or Easter egg is really remarkable on Blue Point's end, and something that anyone that is a fan of video games should really appreciate. This was a good
Yeah.
reward. You know what I mean? Something like this could only exist in the world of video games today. Online gaming communities getting together in the name of something mysterious and exciting. In my opinion, Blue Point did this to show appreciation to the game, the original developers From Software, and to the communities that make these games what they are. And that's honestly a really cool thing to think about.
It is. That's how you do an Easter egg, you know?
Yeah.
I like it.
It's like paying homage to not only the guys who, thought of this crazy world and came up with these awesome art concepts and everything like that, but like this was a community gift. This was because of what the Souls community, again, love them or hate them, elitist, like I said, ravenous. This was like for them.
Yeah.
And I think that the players felt that. Really quick, I want to shout out the entire Souls community that took participation in the event. Like I said, Distortion 2, that was my main guy throughout the whole thing. Vati Vidya, like I said earlier, I watched a little recap vid of his that came out like a week after we had figured it out. Another streamer, Lobos Jr., he's another guy I watch.
Nice.
And it was stuff like, trying to figure out who's going to find it first, who's going to achieve everything first, and Lance McDonald as well. Also, anybody else I'm forgetting. There's a lot of people involved.
It's
in
cool to
this
see
whole
we're like
process.
working together too. Like there's like, I mean, there's probably some
Yeah.
fun competitiveness in it too,
Yeah.
but it's also like
I think I like switched back between when Distortion found out like he had the key and everything was over.
Yeah.
I switched over to a couple other streamers.
Then everyone like flocked to.
Yeah, so people would go from Distortion's chat and then open another stream and start typing. He did it. He found it out. Distortion figured it out. Yeah, but it's like really cool showing of like what a gaming community coming together for like something cool.
And something very particular and like you said, crafted for like to be appreciated by a very small, very passionate like subset.
Right. And that's my story.
That's cool. Yeah.
A little bit something out of the ordinary for you guys, but
yeah,
I was really excited to get this together and share this with people.
We should do for like Easter next year more like try and collect some
cool Easter eggs.
So now you're religious.
What was all that I hate God stuff about earlier?
Yeah.
Oh, it is on my shirt.
Kind of trying to spoil Jesus's day with your video
Wait, turn around. Oh yeah, it says the devil rules XD.
Oh yeah, and it says get wrecked undernet.
Nice. But yeah,
cool.
Well, thank you very much.
Happy to bring something to the table finally.
Yeah, it's a subject we never would have known about or tackled. So
listen, I love cracking jokes, but
cracking wise.
Yeah, cracking wise, cracking jokes. But this one was I had in the think tank for a while because I thought it would be a cool topic to cover.
Yeah, I remember you telling
something
us
we wouldn't cover. So perfect. Shout out to Toyota.
Shout out to memes.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Blue Point Games,
yeah.
Toyota,
and Trollface.
Exclusively.
Yeah.
Forget all the other memes.
Yeah.
Plugs? There is a pee break between.
You don't have to tell them that. All right.
Let them figure it out.
Yeah.
Where can you find out where the pee breaks were in this episode?
If you haven't figured it out by now, there's so many. Yeah, thank you for listening. Feels good to get back into the microtransactions.
Yeah, I like these. We should do them more often.
This is Microtransactions 5. You can go on our website and listen to 1 through 4, as well as a bunch of other episodes.
Yeah, all the Halloween stuff's out.
Yep.
Still feeling the spirit of.
We got our anniversary episode coming up next.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
Go us.
But yeah, you can check out more episodes, all the other microtransaction shit, and more on our website, hotbuttoncast.com, or on any podcast feed that you follow, Spotify, iTunes. I don't know what the other ones are. There's a lot of them. You can also follow our social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at hotbuttoncast for updates on the future. Twitter, Instagram, and Meta at hotbuttoncast.
Nice.
Yeah.
You caught it in real time.
But yeah, that's it.
Stupid, man.
Thanks for listening.
Yep.